There are too many other things happening this week. No more math, please.
Hello and welcome to the EuroWhat, episode 230, dropping on May 6, 2024. It's Eurovision week. We are a pair of Americans trying to make sense of the Eurovision Song Contest. I'm Mike McComb, and I'm here with my co-host, Ben Smith. Hey, Ben.
Hey, Mike.
In this episode, we'll be talking about our predictions for the Eurovision semifinals. Oh, it is finally here, isn't it, Ben?
Yeah, it is here. Like, I'm weirdly just excited that it's finally here because, like, I've been ready to go for, like, 2 weeks, and just, I kind of want to just know who the winner is at this point because, like, I still don't feel like we know who it is.
Yeah, this is our 7th contest that we've covered on the podcast. It feels like it's only the second time, maybe, where it is an actual contest, and I have very little confidence in my predictions. Spoiler for later, I guess.
Oh, yeah, no. I'm like, this is the time of year I'm just so excited to be wrong.
Yes. Just gotta get through this last week, and this is where the real marathon kicks in. One of the things I am looking forward to is that Peacock will be airing Eurovision in the US again this year. The bad news is Johnny Weir won't be doing commentary for the grand final this year.
We're not going to know what entry he becomes weirdly obsessed with over the course of 4 hours.
Yes, unless he's sharing that information on social media somewhere or a blog or telepathically sending it to us.
Does he have a Patreon? Will he'll just be doing like a live stream?
Johnny, if you're hearing this, let us know. We're very curious. So
we would love to chat.
I'm glad that it's going to be accessible for US viewers again without too many hoops to jump through. So.
Yeah, just like a reasonable number of hoops, I would say. It's been a while since we've checked in on Eurovision news because we have been talking with other people about these entries. So let's play a little bit of catch up before we dive into our predictions. I think the main one is, as of April 16th, we now know that there is something called Producer's Choice in the mix for the lineup. They've been announcing all of the little tweaks since like March, and most of them are just like, okay, yeah, sure, we're opening up the telephone line at the start of the show. Cool. We've done that before. When they announced Producer's Choice, I'm like, okay, cool. They're giving 6 slots to this other thing. It'll help with the flow of the show. And then they drop the numbers. It's like, no, there are going to be 6 first half slots, 6 second half slots, and 13 Producer's Choice slots. I do understand Kreister's reasoning for this. He said it's all about creating the best TV show possible and giving all artists a chance to shine. Adding the flexibility of Producer's Choice gives me the ability to create an even better flow of different tempos and an even more thrilling grand final. We've definitely had years with like the first half, second half system where it's like, oh, look, all of the ballads are over here. That's weird.
I have to imagine trying to come up with the grand final lineup after the news conference that follows the second semifinal. It's like, it's 2 a.m. and we have to be ready in like 5 hours to do a rehearsal. Hopefully it gives them a little bit of flexibility just in terms of getting a schedule out sooner.
13 is like just a weird number for me. At that point, just make everybody Producer's Choice. Just like Sweden drew number 1 and we're going to figure out the other 25.
I can see where a number of countries would be complaining about the fairness of that.
That does leave like a thumb on the scale to put all of the popular ones into the last 3 slots of the night.
I have this kind of crackpot theory of what may be happening here.
Go on.
And yes. So and this is 100% speculation. I have not heard anything to confirm this. Definitely have not heard anything to deny this, though. So it's
baseless speculation. Go.
We have the Big Five and Sweden performing in the lineup during the semifinals. I'm wondering if maybe in the overall plan that Sweden was trying to implement to chop off an hour from the grand final, if maybe there's a proposal floating out there that the Big Five no longer get an automatic entry into the grand final. And this might be kind of testing out to see what it would be like if they had to actually perform in the semifinals. I see arguments for and against that. In terms of this crackpot theory, I mean, that would make the grand final 21 countries instead of 25 or 26. That's going to cut off at least 30 minutes from the show, like just with the transitions, the actual performances, all of that. I'm curious to see what may happen as a result of this. And
yeah, it's just like, ooh, hey, everybody, how did that feel? Good. Okay.
Yeah, and I think having some skin in the game, that was something that I think the UK and Germany, like, may have been kind of resting on their laurels a little bit. So, yeah, actually having some risk there. And then, I don't know, Italy, I'd like to see them have to qualify. Like, they've been doing well, and I don't think they would necessarily have a problem. But, yeah, put a little bit of fire under them. Just see if they can handle that pressure.
Don't let them get complacent.
Exactly. I don't know if there's going to be any changes, or especially like if there's going to be any changes like in the next year, because who knows? Maybe this new format is going to just make things more confusing because you're going to have all of these almost interval performances in the course of the show, and people aren't going to be able to vote for them. And
I can see some potential confusion this year. Like, but the UK was in semifinal 1. Why can't I vote for them?
Bringing that back to the producer's choice piece of it, if this change were to happen next year, half the entries would be assigned an actual part of the grand final. The other half would be producer's choice. So those numbers don't seem as crazy once you bring that math into the equation. It would be like 12 and 12, or however that breaks up. Don't make me do math right now. I'm very tired.
There are too many other things happening this week. No more math, please.
Speaking of the auto qualifiers, just before we started recording, the rehearsals wrapped up for the Big Five and Sweden, and they drew their positions for the grand final. Ben, as you mentioned, Sweden's already drawn their position. They are going to be opening the grand final. The UK and Germany both drew the first half of the grand final. France drew the second half, and Spain and Italy will be producer's choice placements. Good draw for France.
Yeah, good draw for France. We'll see what that means for Spain and Italy, but having those sort of in your back pocket, that feels good. UK, what I've seen of that performance, I'm very intrigued by.
Yes, the photos look interesting, and I think what's most interesting is 2 of those 6 first half assignments are already gone. Yeah. It's going to get weird very quickly. Yay.
Looking at other news, flags are often an issue at Eurovision. We have covered that before on the show in episode 63 on the many ways they can be contentious and etc. Martin Oosterdahl has said, similar to last year, flags of nations not participating in the contest, including Palestine, will not be allowed in the arena.
Yeah. Remember last time Sweden hosted and they stepped in it when it came to flag policy? So, yeah, we will have a link to that episode in the show notes. But
I mean, yeah, just like all of the various arena policies this year make me kind of happy I'm sitting on my couch. Honestly, like if you can sneak a Palestinian flag in like one of the pockets of your fishing vest, you should get to bring it in.
Yeah, that's the thing. What was security like in Liverpool?
Not as expansive as I'm used to going to events in the United States.
Yeah, that's been my experience at the times that I've gone to Eurovision. It's one of those things where it's like, unless you're going through one of those airport scanner thingies where you have to put your arms up in the air, I have a feeling that this is going to be a difficult thing to enforce.
I maybe had to go through one of those before the show things where it's not like a metal detector, but it does the waves or whatever. I'm struggling to remember like what I had to go through for. I had to go through like airport style stuff last year for press.
Okay, that makes sense because you're closer to the talent.
I can't even remember if I got wanded going into the arena.
Wow. Okay.
No, I'm remembering having to go through like some level of like standard airport security of put your wallet and keys in this bin. It goes on the side. You go through the thingy.
And then there hasn't been any discussion of like anti-booing technology yet. I'm sure that has been souped up this year.
Will we be able to hear the crowd at all?
Yeah. Oh, that is an interesting prospect.
Just like turn it up to 13. We can't hear the crowd at all.
Yeah.
But no, just like I've seen details of organized protests happening on Thursday and Saturday potentially. Sweden is kind of stepping in it.
Here's how you sneak a flag into the venue. Now,
Step 1, yes. 27 pocket fishing vest. They're not going to check all of them. Step 2, one of the pockets is full of bees.
Let's move on, shall we?
Yes, yeah.
So, yes, along with all of the rehearsals that have been happening this week, there's been all of the fan votes coming in. We were lucky enough to be invited to be part of the Building Bridges podcast's EuroPod vote. They gathered votes from 27 different podcasts to determine a jury score for this year's contest. They compiled a video on YouTube. It was really very well done. The winners of that were Switzerland, Croatia, and Italy. We were representing the rest of the world vote, and I don't know if we have our finger on the pulse on this one.
No, thank you for... Yeah, because I use that as just like a pure, like, I'm not going to do any sort of four-dimensional chess about this is what, even though I don't like this is what I think is going to go through. I'm just like pure, what do I like?
Yeah, and we generally don't do that when we're making our rankings. Like, we used to do it where right before we got into the review series, we would just like, okay, where is our head at as we go through this? But like all of the other rankings that we would do would be predictive. And this one was just like, oh, nope, this is just what I like. This is what Ben likes. We combined our scores. We had to do count back a couple of times.
We had to do so much count back.
Yeah, but neither one of us had Switzerland in our top 10. Ben, you didn't have Italy. Our 12 points went to Australia. I think we were almost the majority of Australia's points in the final. Yeah,
I watched the video, I'm like,
Yeah. So, again, spoiler for the rest of this episode. But it does seem like there is consensus, at least in terms of who's at the top of the leaderboard, but not necessarily the leader. The OGAE voted for Croatia, Italy, and Switzerland. INFE has Switzerland, Italy, Croatia. When I checked the bookkeepers this morning, even though we don't listen to the bookkeepers, it was Croatia, Switzerland, Ukraine, and then Italy and Netherlands also are near the top. Consensus on what is at the top, but it's really anybody's guess on who's actually going to win.
Yeah, and I still think there could be a spoiler. We don't know what we don't know.
You were also a guest on the 12 Points from America podcast to chat about some of the entries.
Yeah, Sam and I from 12 Points are now on the same Connections Online Quiz League team, which is fun. It's great to check in with them on a more regular basis. Like, hey, how are you guys doing? We're real good at identifying patterns, so that's fun. I sat in with them and chatted about 6 of the entries, and we had some fun. And it was also just very nice mid-season when we were recording, just get some alternate opinions on things.
Yes. There were some that you had talked about that we had not talked about yet. So it's like, oh no, I'm being spoiled for what Ben is going to say when we finally talk about it. So that was a great listen, and we'll have a link to that in the show notes as well.
Also, for our Patreon subscribers, there is now the second of our 2 mega mixes of all of our second round coverage of these entries. So we put together, in the running order, our chats with each of our guests. So you can hear all those and see if they make sense when we cut them up and put them back together in a different form.
Yes, our opinions are actually consistent throughout. So that was the one thing that I was worried about, where it's like, oh, I instantly contradict myself once we actually listen to these in running order. But nope, that did not happen. So you can find those at patreon.com/EuroWhat.
All right, let's get into it.
A spoiler warning, we don't have any inside information about rehearsals other than what has been shared by Eurovision on social media. Some folks may be avoiding all of the content that has been made publicly available so they can go in fresh for the shows on Tuesday and Thursday. If you are one of these folks, hi Dave, you may want to press pause now, as what we've seen has influenced what we'll be talking about. As always, you can come back after Thursday's semifinal to marvel at how right we were and or laugh mercilessly at how wrong we were. We contain multitudes. So from this point forward, spoilers are fair game. All right. So semifinal 1, we made our predictive rankings, and we were in agreement about 7 entries advancing. So we think that Australia, Croatia, Iceland, Lithuania, Luxembourg, Portugal, and Ukraine will qualify for the grand final. Then for your other 3 spots, you had Finland, Ireland, and Slovenia. I had Cyprus, Poland, and Serbia.
Before we dive into the differences, just one thing I wanted to check in on the sames.
Yes.
I am concerned about Australia.
Okay, yeah. We have this in our notes labeled as agree. I'm not sure I agree with what I said. So.
Yeah. No. I have printed off our lists. I have Australia in 9th, and I am concerned.
I had Australia in 8th. And that felt high.
Yeah, I was not going to be surprised if they were like 11th on my list.
I still love the song. I think the performance is fine. Like, there's nothing in the rehearsal that is... Like, there's nothing specific where it's like, ooh, this is going to be a problem. What is playing in my head is Netherlands' Birth of a New Age. Like that same style of performance to be like, oh, remember when it got 0 points at the grand final?
Yeah, and like how we had spent like the season leading up to going, this is so great. I love what this is doing as a song. And like, I think we're hitting the same place of, I love this as a song. I'm not sure I love this as the performance of that song.
Yeah, and I liked Netherlands' performance of that. It's just like, it did not connect with the audience at all. And I am so worried that that is what is going to happen here.
I feel like in the early days of this song, I said like my one concern was that it felt a little bit We Got Love, Jessica Malboy, and that one did not click with people. So I like that one I am concerned about. And then like the other one that's like very funny for me, I was very down on Iceland all season and somehow they qualified in my list. It was better than enough things. Watching the 30 seconds we have been provided by Eurovision, Hera Björk is a very professional performer.
Absolutely. And I love the 100,000 kroner pyramid set that she is performing on. And she just exudes positivity that just goes through the screen without any sort of problem.
I don't think it's a winner. I think it has a good chance of qualifying.
I saw that you had Finland ranked rather high. And I would love to explore that further.
Okay. I mean, they're not doing anything radically different from UMK. I went from going into UMK, I was like, I don't know about this one, to kind of getting it. For some of these, and I think for this one, it also applies to why I have Ireland qualifying as well. I'm trying to put myself in the mindset of someone who has not been following this for months.
Mm-hmm.
I think both of those stagings have a freshness to them for somebody who has not seen them before. Finland is aiming for humor, and I think they are mostly connecting with it. They've had time to hopefully get the timings of all of the hiding that he's wearing like a little nude thong. From like an audio level, it feels like they have put a couple more background singers in the mix to help beef up the places that the vocals weren't as strong.
Okay.
I think on both sort of a visual spectacle level and a where they need to make sure the audio is good level, it's enough. I would bet that I'm placing it too high overall on how it will actually shake out, but I think it has the juice it needs to get through to the final. And like Ireland, that's very standard Marilyn Manson going door to door trying to shock people performance. But I think, but like they're showing us the 30 seconds from the beginning. They could completely screw up the remaining 5/6 of what we're going to see.
I have Ireland as my number 11. I was very impressed with the rehearsal clip that was shared. I think they have been making the right choices for this. I think what it really comes down to is somebody who is seeing this for the first time on the night, like, how are they going to respond to it? And
that's the piece that I wasn't really adding. That's another one where I'm like, I'm pretty sure this is too high on my list, but I think that there is enough novelty there that it probably won't get everybody's 12 points, but it could get like their 7 or their 8. They're not their 7 or their 8, but like it'll be like lower on everybody's list, but just enough to qualify.
I won't be mad if Ireland qualifies. It's so on the bubble. And, what did I have in 10th? It was actually Serbia and Poland tied for 9th. And I think having Ireland as part of that bubble, like I think it is going to be 2 of those 3. I don't think it's going to be all 3.
Okay. My number 11 is Serbia. The clip they've shown us, like, it's fine. They've got some set pieces, but like the performance was not overwhelming, like especially because they're starting in second, which is just kind of it's a little bit of a handicap, I think, of just like that one is a little slower, a little more subtle, and coming second in the night where we're going to have a lot of visual stuff.
Yeah, and also in the clip that they showed, it was an overhead shot, and with the way that the stage is set up, it looks like the stage is rather high. So for people in the arena, they're not going to necessarily get the overall effect of that. So yeah, there could just be like arena home audience mismatch that may be in play, which is an issue that doesn't come up in Serbia's final because they're filming it on a spaceship or something.
In this weird hermetically sealed enclosure.
Yeah. So like the live audience component isn't a factor there.
Poland was on my list that we gave to building bridges, and like I think it was fairly high. And then like Poland is Polanding this performance too much. They are doing too much. She has to be in the tower, down from the tower, skirt reveal, dancing with chess piece, laying on the floor on top of the horse. Like it took me several watches to realize, oh, she's lying on the floor. I thought that was just like a cut in of like a pre-existing visual, because like it would not surprise me if like Poland just like did like a pre-tape and like, quick clip while we do while we get her over here. I don't know who orchestrated all of the performance, but I feel like she is doing too much and is affecting the vocals. She does not need to be doing all of these things. She could be front of stage, have chess pieces doing things in the background, also just like the obnoxious chess theme of the entire performance. It is sort of like when your grandparents find out that you like a thing and for Christmas you get 17 of that thing. I have a roommate in college who expressed a slight interest in Sudoku and came back from holiday break with like 20 different Sudoku things.
Oh no.
And he was just kind of mid on it.
Yeah. Here, you want a page a day calendar? I have 5.
Too many things are happening with that performance, which is why it like plummeted down my list.
Yeah. Although that has been working for Poland for the last few years.
It has, but I think that this one doesn't work in the way that the last two have.
Looking at my list, Croatia, without a doubt, getting through. Ukraine, yes. Luxembourg, I think is doing a really good job.
That's a solid performance. Well done. Welcome back.
And closing the night, they'll be fine. Portugal,
looking great. That one went up my list as much as Poland went down. How they've staged that is real lovely.
I have Cyprus rather high. I thought it works really well as an opener. I think the choreography still needs a little bit of tightening. There's a couple of parts where she looks like a kind of broken puppet in a way.
Have you seen the video cutting together the dance move that JoJo Siwa is trying to do for her new single or whatever?
No.
Okay, I'm going to find that and send it to you, because like that was all I could think about when I watched the little dance breakdown during Cyprus, and it was not good.
I think I may be overvaluing Cyprus.
I agree it's a strong opener. I'm just like, this is no.
Yeah, and I have Lithuania after Cyprus. I don't know. I didn't love that video clip, even though it does seem like it's going to be fairly similar to what we saw in the national final. And I think it was a perfectly fine performance.
There's a lot of wide shots, and I would love like either a medium or a close shot more.
Yes.
And I feel like I'm feeling that way about a lot of the first semifinal stuff, is we have a lot of delegations doing a lot of wide shots that I'm not sure work.
Yeah. Perhaps because the delegations are who chooses the 30-second clip, and they may just be doing like, okay, pick the wide shots so that we don't give away everything. I wasn't wowed by what we were shown from Lithuania.
Yeah, and like we are in agreement that both Moldova and Azerbaijan are not qualified. Yeah. Moldova, she feels alone on that stage. It's just cavernous.
Yeah, I am really kind of baffled by those choices, because I thought that the national final performance was great and that they were going to like zhuzh it.
There was something very compelling about the 5 identical women with violins.
Yeah.
And we have one, and yeah, I'm just, And then Azerbaijan, the choice of clip they picked, I'm glad that we have the 15 seconds that Ilkin is in the song, but I'm just very baffled by like the outfit choices, by the general staging, and like maybe there's something in what comes before and after that helps it all click, but I'm just not getting it. It's another one where they feel very alone on the stage.
Yeah, like it's kind of reminding me of what Azerbaijan sent in 2022. Which is an interesting choice, considering they got 0 points from the televote with that kind of staging in 2022. So I don't know why they're going back to a similar well.
Let's chat Slovenia, because you have that at the bottom of your list.
I was so thoroughly underwhelmed by that clip that was shared. There's nothing happening on stage. The writhing bodies around her and the vocalizing, but it doesn't seem motivated. It seems like she's just doing scales.
Okay. I kind of get that. Like, I did like that we were getting like a lot of close-ups. Maybe it's just like from watching the video where we have all of these next to one another. We're just like, wide shot, wide shot, wide shot. Oh, finally, we are seeing one of the performers up close.
I was thinking about when we talked about it during the review series and you referred to her as swimming among the bones of her enemies or something. It's like, yes, where is that element in this performance? So
yeah, and like I don't dislike the way they've staged it, and like it's very funny to me that we have this right next to Finland of just like the designated like perceived nudity corner.
Yes. but also like the hatching from the egg and then the pupa stage. Is that how that like that order goes? But it's like larva, then pupa, and then
pupa, and then beautiful butterfly.
Yeah. So
I feel like the effect of the writhing dancing bodies would be better if you were allowed more than 6 people on stage. I have it 8th on my list, and that felt maybe a skosh high. Where, like, I think that one either succeeds or just fails. Because, yeah, I don't know what... Like, how do we get to that point?
From that clip, it just seems like, okay, everybody get into position. Okay, you start writhing. You just start doing your scales. Like, there's, like, not even anything really going on in the video behind her. It seems like they were practicing something in between shots or, like, in between takes. And that's what they decided on. And just like, why would you do that? Like, it looked off.
It's a really weird point of the song to focus on, too. Like, because, like, it is vocally impressive, but, like, melodically not doing much.
Yeah. Although, thinking of cutting the audio clips for songs like that is a very difficult one to clip, even with 30 seconds. Like, what 30 seconds do you pull?
Maybe they're hitting the same issue we had of just like, okay, but like this works really well as like 3 minutes, but like I don't have like a 30-second boiled down version that really works, which if it works as like a full performance, that's good. Not everybody's clamoring on YouTube waiting for this to pop up like I've been the last couple of days, just like, show me the clips.
All right. Any other thoughts on the first semifinal?
I think we have exhausted all of the
listeners.
Yes, and all of the things I had noted on my little sheet of paper in front of me. All right, so let's talk about the second semifinal. The places we agreed on this one are Armenia, Czechia, Georgia, Greece, Netherlands, Norway, San Marino, and Switzerland. That's 8. That's 8 out of the 10.
Mm-hmm.
The places where we differ, I have Austria and Estonia on my list. You have Belgium and Denmark on yours.
Even though we have a lot of agreement, we are not in agreement in terms of order of things.
No. On these rankings, I voted with my heart when we were doing the building bridges. I absolutely got my head in check and was basing it on, okay, which of these performances do I think more people are going to like? Because, like, I have Switzerland top of list, and that performance is fine for me. The song is fine.
What's surprising me about Switzerland is they appear to be using the staging that I would have expected from the UK with like the whole Lazy Susan aspect of it.
Yes.
But I think Nemo is using it more effectively than Ali would have used.
Yes.
Yeah. So points for that.
I have made my peace with that song that it's not for me. I understand its appeal, and I think it's doing what it needs to do well. Is not for me.
Yeah, I have Norway at the top of my list. Like, I think with both the first and the second semifinal, I was taking running order position into account and being toward the end of the lineup and like that vocal, like just so solid. And this is a group that knows what they're doing. I'm thinking Norway could be a major spoiler this year.
I would not be surprised if they are also near the top. They were 3rd in my rankings. Netherlands has something up their sleeve, and they're being very protective of it.
I don't know. I think the clip that they shared, it's gotten me every single time.
No. The clip is really good.
Mm-hmm.
It has done the same thing for me every time. We're just like, there's something about that little crack in his voice that just like, oh man.
Yep.
When this has like an actual audience and he's reacting to that on top. Yeah, no, this is.
Yeah.
They're showing us the end of the performance. So I'm trying to figure out what's happening leading up to that.
There's somebody in a bird mask. That's all I know.
No. There's somebody in essentially like an EU mascot behind like the little analog synth, and I love it.
Yeah.
Again, as I mentioned in our review series, once my brain was like, this is 100 gecs, I'm just like on board. I watched the clip of the first rehearsal where we're shown just like the briefest of what else is happening on screen. I'm like, oh, this has the juice. I'm very excited about that one. And like, this feels like such a step up from last year for the Netherlands of trusting. Joost keeps posting, trust the process. I'm going to trust the process.
I was not worried about Netherlands. I think it was really just more of a case of just like, am I going to be annoyed by this? I am not annoyed by it. Like, I think this is going to be the way that it is ending is exactly how a semifinal should, like, Yes.
Yeah.
Good job, Netherlands.
Yeah, good job, Netherlands. Good job, producers. We're putting that one last. Just nailed it.
Greece is what I have in my second slot. And I think Greece could also be a potential spoiler here. As much as I love Greece, I still feel like we're sleeping on it.
In watching the clip we got, though, I realized that my vision of what a one-shot looks like requires more than 6 people on stage. And, I don't know if we were just, not getting any in-camera effects from these clips. I wanted visual cacophony on screen besides just her and the dancers, just, sort of towards how the music video has all of this other stuff happening on screen along with the video.
Although, I think in the portion of the song that they clipped, that would be a distraction, but there are other parts of the song where that effect could be used effectively.
I've also been really bullish on that song, and it's slipped a little bit just because I'm not sure about these 30 seconds, but I will fully come around if we see the full thing and it just blows my mind.
This feels very safe for advancing to Saturday.
The thing that I found interesting about our list for the second semifinal is that we have Armenia and Georgia in the same, Armenia and Georgia on my list are in the positions Georgia and Armenia are in your list, which is very interesting.
Huh. You have Armenia, I have Georgia in 5th.
Yeah, I have Georgia in 10th, you have Armenia in 10th.
Interesting. I don't know what to derive from that.
Armenia is giving me what I wanted out of that performance. I think that's why I ranked them so high. This is nailing what I think they needed to do to make it more than just the two of them. They're keeping the focus on her. She's magnetic.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and just how into the camera she is in that clip, I think is the correct choice. But watching the clip the first time, my first note is oh, okay, they did go family pavilion at Armenia Fest.
That was going to be my other note, though. Is it does also, it feels like both of our notes is we need to keep the focus on her, but also does feel a little bit Armenia pavilion at Disney World.
I think the reason that I had that ranked so low is just because it is right in the middle of the lineup. And I think that there's a lot of more memorable, distinct performances that are happening after Armenia. It's still in my 10. I still think it's going to get through. I think it does have enough of that, enough to be memorable, just not as memorable as the stuff that's going to follow it.
I have Georgia in 10th just because it still feels like a very effortful performance to me. But I think of the various solo pop girlies in the second semifinal, I think it's nailing it the most.
Yes.
At the bottom of both of our lists are Albania and Malta. Which Albania, of all the times to pull one of the many dress that is also somehow armor out of your closet, why are you giving us a tracksuit?
I feel like Albania may have listened to what we said the first time around. It was just oh, how can we make Mike angrier? So
Ben is actively calling his credit card company for something he did not purchase.
Oh, man. Yeah, Malta. That was a very rough clip to watch where it's focusing on the dance break, and it's reminding me of a finale of Dancing with the Stars where it's the freestyle performance for a contestant who should have been voted out 3 weeks earlier.
I feel like the flip is supposed to feel impressive, and I giggle every time.
That part is fine. I mean, the blindfolded aspect, whatever. But no, I'm just thinking of the part where she is lifted by the guy and then spun around and then lowered. Everything about the transitions are bad. And you could see her thinking as she's going through the performance. I mean, it was a rehearsal, so there is that aspect of it, but it's just okay, I understand that you're still maybe working through some things in this dance routine. Why did you choose that clip where it's so painful?
The flip is sort of like in an 80s movie when they've clearly cut away to the stunt double.
Oh, yeah.
A stunt double in a C+ wig.
It's a rough opening to the show. That's the part that I am concerned about, just because it's okay, you have this Malta performance, which is just, it's cringy. I cringe when I watch that part of the clip, and then it's followed by Albania, where it's oh God, what is happening here? And then finally Greece saves us.
If nothing else, the professionalism of what Greece is doing is yes, you have the one-shot element that is trickier, but I feel like they are doing what they need to do to sell that, whereas I don't know what the first 2 acts of this semifinal are doing. they're trying.
One thing that I think is interesting is Estonia did not make my list.
Yeah, I was surprised by that too. And like, in fairness, they're like 8th on mine because I think it has the potential to do a Trenulettle, but also there's still enough chaos in the mix where I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah, like, it looks like they're trying to do the stage performance that they were doing at Estee Lauder, which is fine. I think that can work. I just don't trust that the adrenaline's not going to take over and it's just going to end up being another hot mess.
I kind of wish that they weren't all in black. I wish there was like something a little bit, like, I feel like it's getting a little swallowed up by the stage.
Yeah, I see that.
Is like, we don't need them in like the full Trenulettle garb, but just like something a little bit more visually distinct.
Yeah, because it's kind of reminding me of the We Are the Winners Lithuania performance where they're all wearing the same suits. And actually, there's a lot of similarities with that. Although, I mean, that finished 6th, so I don't know. Like,
yeah, so like, yeah, it's one where like I would like it to go through because I like its energy, but if it doesn't make it through, I will understand.
I think that's where I'm at with that one.
The one that I was surprised was not in 11th on mine was Austria. And like, that performance it's a very solidly constructed performance. I agree. I still agree with you that like, it feels very cheer performance. And if it's not your thing, there's nothing for you there.
Feel like I was expecting to like really like be in the paint, in terms of the dancing. And it seems kind of sedate.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, maybe they're saving their energy for the big show and they are going to go hard in the paint.
Maybe. Yeah. Because I think this is another one where it's just like, what 30 seconds do you pull? This is probably another one that is just very difficult to clip in a compelling way. It'll be good to have some surprises.
Yeah.
So, yeah, what did you have for your 11th?
Denmark. I think it's a very solidly constructed performance. Every time I see the little clip that they've given us of her just sort of screaming sand as there's like a big background of sand, it makes me think of the meme where Oprah's just like, bees! So someone please make that happen for me.
Adding it to my to-do list because I want it to.
What I've seen of the graphics are not like Grease 2023 level of just like, it looks like they're just making her big on the screen, which I don't understand that impulse. When their face is very large, it scares me.
Yeah.
Just the train is coming at me.
Yeah. No wonder you don't like billboards. Okay.
No, like I think it's well constructed. I just think that on the night it has like it could just be like it slots nicely into maybe it'll be 10th, maybe it'll be 11th.
I have Denmark as my number 8. Because like I think it's a great vocal. It looks like we're not going to get the movement that I really think that the performance needs, but this does feel like it was a zhuzh to what was at the national final.
Yeah, so. Like they've thought about like how we could amp it up, and like I applaud them for that.
I'm hopeful for this one. Like I said, I think this is a good choice for Denmark, and if it doesn't succeed, I'm hoping that it will at least get them on track because I think this is doing good work. So
yeah, yes.
For my 11th, I have Israel. This is where I think the American perspective really just completely swooshifies our ability to protect. Also, like the 100% televote thing. Like, I don't know how to navigate.
I don't know what to, just mentally don't know what to do.
I think this is going to be performed well. I don't have a clear sense of just how contentious this is in the rest of the world. Like like even though there are going to be protests in Malmö and there are like protests in large cities in a number of countries, I don't get a sense of what the actual vibe is, or like I don't even really know how to articulate it, but it's just like, okay, how much of the perception is just because of like how American media is covering this and like the ecosystem in which we swim. If it qualifies, I would not be surprised. And if it doesn't qualify, there are reasons why.
I mean, as I was doing my list, I watched the clip as part of the package. I had 10 things that were better than it.
Okay.
Like, I had at least 10 things that were better than it. So like, I thought, like what we've seen looks like, I agree with you. It's going to be performed well. I don't know. Like, I will leave it there.
It really only has to do better than 4 other things because I've just completely written off Albania and Malta at this point. Latvia as well. Like, I'm hoping there's more to that performance.
Yeah, I'm just like, okay, we've got the circle on stage. What are we doing? I like that Latvia watched Festival e Kangas and said, yeah, we can do that.
Yep. Oh, I didn't check to see if I didn't check to see if the chest plate had a nipple piercing or not. So
can Dons wear a necklace that precariously gets close?
Yeah.
San Marino, I think they made a really smart choice in picking the opening for the 30 seconds we're seeing, because like it made me want to see more.
I so love everything that is happening with that entry. San Marino, Megara, like they all deserve. Like they like excellent job just from that 30-second clip. Like it is just completely won me over.
Let's chat about Belgium, because I have Belgium as my number 12. We're using some of the same visuals from the music video. We've got essentially like the press conference of Mike's upstage, where I think a part of it is just like the clip they chose is it's towards the end of the song, which that is the part of the song I like. So like good choice. It feels very samey. Again, this one could just be a song that's hard to clip, where I don't know how we get to the, well, I mean, I know that like we step down from the mics and we go to the front of the stage and we start screaming before the party's over, but just like it kind of did nothing for me in terms of, ooh, I'm excited to see more.
I completely get that. Yeah. Like I think what my takeaway from the clip was this is exactly how Musti would perform it in his house.
Regardless of the venue.
Yeah. It's like, oh, there's an audience here. Cool. I was not planning around that. I was just going to do this anyway. So I totally get where you're coming from on that. It's kind of fallen to the wayside for me as well. And it also doesn't help that I really think that Belgium and Switzerland are like, it's one or the other. Like you can like both, but you are going to be choosing between those two. And yeah, I have Switzerland much higher than Belgium. I think I even have to take back my prediction that it's going to win the jury, because yeah, it is just kind of there.
I was pleasantly surprised with Czechia. I wasn't sure how that one was going to shake out, and like I like what they're doing with this one.
Was it with her band in the national final? It's so long ago at this point.
Yeah, like I think there was a band on stage, and having a bunch of dancers dressed identically to play along with the idea of putting myself on a pedestal. Very good thinking.
And a really solid vocal, I thought.
I'm really hoping like the little fight bit, if they're still including that, doesn't completely derail things, but
maybe it'll be like a video playing in the background so they can get into position or something, but
the clip they give us, like, we've got that one of the blocks sort of lowering down where I'm pretty sure we're going to get a video on the side or something.
Yeah, I have it ranked kind of low, but it's still in my top 10. So I'm hopeful. Like, this is what Czechia does well. Like, it's like, okay, the song could be kind of mid when it is first selected, but they know how to stage and they know how to upgrade. So
yeah, and like they did very well with last year's staging. So like I trust them to know what they're doing.
Both shows are looking good, even though there are like some performances that are heads and shoulders above other performances. But yeah, looking forward to Tuesday, looking forward to Thursday. I guess I'm looking forward to Saturday, but we'll see what happens before
we'll see where we're at. But like what heartbreaks have happened by then?
Oof. Yeah, there's going to be at least one.
Yeah.
Hang in there, Australia, please.
Please. Yeah.
That is what I am most
worried
about.
We are rooting for you, but also, oh boy.
That's going to do it for this episode of the EuroWhat. Thanks for listening. The EuroWhat podcast is hosted by Mike McComb, that's me, and Ben Smith.
That's me. If you'd like to help support the show and access a ton of bonus content, head over to patreon.com/EuroWhat.
Our full coverage of the 2024 Eurovision Song Contest can be found on our website at EuroWhat.com. You can also follow us on social media at EuroWhat.
Friday on the EuroWhat, we go over the semifinal results and get ready for Saturday's grand final. Baseless speculation, go!